Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video we're going to take a look at Swampert, Shadow Swampert in the Great Lake Remix Cup. This is one of the teams that got me up close to Legend. Of course I had Legend in this war, but this is not the team that got me directly to Legend, but it got me way closer to it. This is a team that I needed a little bit of fixing first. I tried different variants of this team. I settled with Claydol, which was absolutely the right choice. Claydol is absolutely amazing and a perfect combination kind of towards also the Pidgeot, unless you encounter, I guess, an Ice-type Pokemon, but you still have Rock Tomb here, so it's not too bad. But this team was absolutely amazing. Again, this team got me up to over 2,900 MMR, or like ELO, whatever you want to say to it, and this was absolutely ridiculous. But also, we have here the Pidgeot. Pidgeot is by far the Pokemon that is, I don't know, having the most amount of usage compared to like a little bit lower down in the ELO range, in the higher up ELO range, basically. Like, what I want to say is, it's very common up top. It's not so common if you are a little bit lower, but Pidgeot is kind of the Pokemon that a lot of people use to currently break the meta. I used it as well, and it was super strong. Here we were able to realign, by the way, against the opponent's, against the opponent's Gustload, which is absolutely amazing. And as you will see here, there's the Ferret coming in against us. We're going to be able to go for the Air Cutter. And as soon as they're going to get the shield here, we might be able to just sweep with our Swampert, and that's exactly what I'm going to try to do, because he got them into a range where one Hydro Cannon is going to be enough. Swift is coming through, we're going to be able to shield, and we can overfarm by a lot. Going for the Hydro Cannon now. And as we will see here, this is going to allow us to get the KO against the opponents. Only the Marowak, which he knew as well already. And we're going to be able to outspeed them here with our Swampert. Going to be able to win us the battle quite easily here. We're going to have quite a few battles here today as well. I think we have like 12 or 13 battles in today's video. I did around like 3 or 4 sets for this team. This team was absolutely amazing. Like, I cannot say anything negative towards this team. Swampert is really cool. Claydol is really cool. Pidgeot is amazing. And as you can see as well, what Pidgeot can do with a Gust. As we will see here, we have a very neutral matchup, a matchup that I don't want to see with my backline though. And we're going to be able to just farm down the Dragonite, still have a Charge Move stored, and we can now align ourselves kind of perfectly. And while we were just saying that the opponent is going to have here in the back the Toxapex, and we're going to get out the opponent's Umbreon. Because of the insane amount of bulk of Claydol, we're going to be able to just take those hits from the Umbreon. But not only this, there's also something else that we're going to see here as well, which I'm going to do. I'm going to try to keep my Claydol alive. Why do I do this? Because in scenarios like this, where the opponent has like some bulky Pokemon, has a lot of charge move pressure in terms of having a lot of different kind of small charge moves left, I kind of want to keep as many of the Pokemon alive that can do damage with the fast move pressure. And this is why we also keep our Claydol here now, because later on, we might be able to just force some more pressure onto the opponent's Toxapex. In this case, they just forfeit anyway. And so we're going to be able to win the battle, and we can move on to the next opponent. This is a matchup that you're going to see quite commonly as well. Pidgeot against Pidgeot. What I have to say with this team, I was absolutely not lucky with Air Cutter. I don't even remember getting a single boost. I think I got like one time a boost with Air Cutter, and then I had to swap out anyway. But basically, here the opponent gets the attack boost, which is really annoying. But yeah, it is ridiculous that I never really have luck with those kind of things, but it is what it is. We're going to see the Diggers be coming in. We're going to be in a bit of a tough spot here though. We are already a shield down. The opponent had the attack boost. If we got the attack boost where the opponent got the attack boost in the lead, we would have been able to just farm them down, which would have been absolutely amazing. But no, we're going to be able to go for the Ace Beam here though. We're going to get them very low with that, which is kind of nice. We're going to try to go for another charge move, but I think even a Fire Punch is going to be enough to knock us out from this range. They go for the Scorching Sands though, which is cool, as it can now go into our Pidgeot. And hope for the best that we somehow can win with our Swampert. We have some lag, which actually allowed us to knock out the opponent's Pidgeot in time, which would have not happened otherwise. And now we have to see what they have in the back here. Air Cutter going to get the KO. What do they have? We actually have the attack boost here, but we have to swap out anyway. Should have stayed in maybe for a little bit to get a little bit more damage, but they're going to reveal the Poliwrath in the back, which is a Pokemon that is honestly also a little bit more common in the higher up ELO range, which I found quite interesting. I didn't really expect that at all. But yeah, Poliwrath seems to be a bit more common as well. Makes a lot of sense. Very good in the current meta, as long as you're going to be able to get rid of Pokemon like Grumpig or the Ghost types before, which I guess you can maybe bait out with a Digger's Bee. But as you guys see here, they're going to be able to knock us out. Maybe if we stayed in for one Gust, we would have had a chance here, but not too sure. I don't think we had a chance no matter what. So good game there. We can move on to the next opponent. Swampert lead is very neutral for us, and the cool thing here is as well, against the Shadow Swampert, at least not against this Swampert I guess, we would be able to just farm them down if we get a boost with the Air Cutter, which is kind of funny. But let's see here. Air Cutter's coming through against the opponent. They decide to go for a shield. That's fine. We're going to be able to shield this move up from the opponent as well. It's going to be their Hydro Cannon. I think I can go for one more fast move before throwing. Yeah, again, if I got the boost here early on, I would be able to just farm them down here, which is kind of funny. But Air Cutter is going to get the KO. Again, no boost on our side. We can swap out into our Claydol. Corviknight Claydol is, funnily enough, a very solid matchup for the Claydol, which seems very counterintuitive. We have a flyer against a ground type. But because of the coverage that we have and because they don't do any fast move pressure against us, we're going to be kind of fine here. And as long as they don't have payback, which they don't have here either, most people are not running payback, we're going to be in such a good position that we are going to be able to just easily win this matchup. We should be kind of fine here. But I over-farm too much, and this is a very big issue. And now I am forced to use a shield. Luckily though, we have one big benefit going our way. We're going to be able to debuff the opponent's last Pokemon, and they cannot swap out of this matchup anymore. So they're going to be staying debuffed until the end of this battle, allowing me to go into my Swampert. And as I decided to use a shield, I have the Sludge, which does super effective damage, and they had enough. We can move on to the next opponent. We see the Dusclops in the lead. Usually a very nice neutral or like positive lead. We have a Ghost type doing Ghost type damage against us as a normal type, but they also have Ice Punch, which is going to do quite a lot of damage, and they're going to outspeed us generally as well. And so we're going to go for the Brave Bird. This either gets the KO or gets us a shield advantage. We take the shield advantage, as you're going to be able to use a shield now as well against the opponent. I kind of want to swap out of here though as well. Swampert is coming in, and in comes the Primeape. One thing that I have noticed towards Primeape, which maybe we can take a look at as well, is that a lot of players in the higher up elo range is running Cross Chop on this Pokemon, which has the same pacing as the Rage Fist, which is actually a very cool shout, because a lot of people are then assuming you're baiting, but you're actually not baiting. You're just going for the other charge move on this Pokemon, which I feel like is a funny play, like definitely a funny play, and it's just kind of a very nice neutral play. Not too sure if it's going to be the ideal play, but Cross Chop is a fun one. Anyway, we're going to see Shadow Punch coming through. We're going to go into our Claydol, and they decide to forfeit because I guess they didn't want to see a Claydol in the back. Next up, we're going to have here Shadow Dusclops. This Pokemon again is going to be a bit of an annoying one. Ice Punch is not going to knock us out, but Ice Punch is going to do a ton of damage, and so we're going to use a shield here again. We're going to go for 2 fast moves, getting up to 2 air cutters, getting 1 air cutter down here against the opponent is going to allow us to get some shields, as well as they can go for another charge move here, which is not ideal as we're going to use another shield here as well. So we're shields down, we can go for another air cutter, they still would be able to go for another Ice Punch though. And so let's see what we can do here. We're going to swap out into our Swampert. They swap out into their Diggersby. That is a weird play, as they are going to be able to definitely win this matchup as long as they don't get to a Hyper Beam or something. Scorching Sands, which they're going to get to now, is going to be something we're going to be able to survive. And so, yeah, this is going to be at least nice realignment. We're going to get the attack drop again. Scorching Sands seems so, I don't know, broken in terms of how many attack drops they get against us. But we're going to get out even here the Tinkaton, which is such a good thing for us, because now we have alignment. We're going to have our Mud Slapper against the opponent's Tinkaton. We're going to have the Ghost type against our normal type. And Swampert was just able to completely flip the alignment here, which allows us now, I want to swap out, but apparently the game doesn't allow me to. Allows us here to swap out here at least, get the farmland done hopefully. As we all see, the Ice Punch coming through here doesn't knock us out, but what we have here is the option go for Brave Bird, and this is exactly where we're going to try to go for now. As our Air Cutter is not enough, Brave Bird absolutely is, and we can say goodbye to the opponent's Tinkaton, going down to a resisted hit. Next up, we're going to have here the Quagsire, we're going to have the Togetic, and we're going to be able to go for some air cutter damage here. Quagsire, I guess a Pokemon that I don't want to really face with Claydol. I would love to get a shield here, but I sadly didn't get a shield, and this is kind of annoying because in hindsight, I should have now went for the charge move against the opponent here, because if I kept that, that would have been cool against the Quagsire, and we still would have most likely been able to knock them out with 1 Rock Tomb after all the fast move pressure that we had against the opponent. Dazzling Gleam is going to get us very, very low here, and we have to go for the Rock Tomb now. At least they're going to get rid of one of the flying type Pokemon, which you don't want to face with. Oh, wait. They don't want us to knock them out. But you know what I can do now? I can let this move go through. Psyshock it is. And we go into our Swampert. we're gonna go for the full farm down against the flying type Pokemon. I use a shield against the potential Dazzling Gleam, but they decided to go for the Side Shock, which is smart because they're still gonna get to another one, but they're debuffed at this point as well, and so I'm not too worried about this. What we can do is, we are going to be able to get a ton of energy. And let me tell you, basically, no matter which Pokemon is going to be in the back here, they're always going to have to take at least a Hydro Cannon from Swampert, as long as it's not going to be a Grass type that would be able to farm us down before we get there. But it's not going to be a Grass type, it's going to be the Ninetales, and so we can go for the Sludge. Issue is, I am not too sure we can go to another one, and this is the issue here. I do think we're gonna lose. Oh, wait a minute. We're gonna get to the Sludge, but does it put them into the KO range for one more gust? It's gonna be close, but I think it might be the case, as we're gonna go for Shield here against the opponent. When the ball comes through, we win the battle with a 1 HP Swampert there, basically getting to the Sludge, winning us this battle here. Against Diggersby in the lead, funnily enough, I actually would play this a little bit differently towards what I'm doing here right now. I would usually just stay in for this one, let the move go, and then swap out into my Claydol. By the way, I actually never talked about it. The face up here depends on what you're going to encounter in the lead, by the way. For example, here I would go into the Claydol, because it's going to be a very nice neutral matchup there. Swampert, yes, does super effective damage, but would be in general the better counter. Luckily, I'm going to get out the trophies here against the opponent now, which is cool. Like from the opponent, which is cool, we're gonna be able to go for a super effective Ice Beam, doing a ton of damage, getting rid of this Pokemon kinda early here against what Swampert has to deal with later on. Issue is if they have something in the back where Swampert is going to struggle against, which I don't know yet, it's going to be Darkspan. And yeah, that's game over. Good game to the opponent, nothing you can do here. I did play a very similar team where I was using a different Say-Swap though, but I had the Darkspan Diggersby core already in a video on this channel. Forgot the Say-Swap that I used though. It is somewhere though on the channel, so definitely check that video out as well for the Great League Remix Cup. Very strong core. Like, yeah, they played us really well here. They just played it basically perfectly towards where they want to be. They want to kind of keep their Darkspan here to, knock us out later on. It's just well played. I didn't have Tropius though, I had something different for it. But again, like very cool team there. Let's move on to the next opponent. This is basically the best possible lead. They know that as well, and they just forfeit straight away. If you have a team that is so weak to Pidgeot, you should not really play it. Like, Pidgeot is very, very common in the high up elo range, I have to say. Like, with the last team that I played, where you will see the video eventually on the channel anyway, but with the last team that I played, basically, I encountered basically, I think 30% of the leads were Pidgeot. Like, it's that common. And so, it would be something interesting maybe for a different video, though, to counter exactly this Pokemon. So, yeah, that might be something I kind of maybe take a look at for the future, but as you see here, you're gonna get out the Dusknoir. I hope I survive a Shadow Punch. I'm not too sure, most I am not, but at least I'm going to be able to still do something with our Pidgeot here, and so we're gonna get the charge move off them. It's gonna be the Air Cutter, and I will let the move go, because I can now farm them down with a Swampert. This was my only play. They're gonna go for the Dynamic Punch, which is actually better for us, I think, and now it's down to Swampert against Grumpig. Yeah, there's no way I can win this. There's no way I can win this. Hydro Cannon is never going to be enough to knock out Grumpig. I need 2 Hydro Cannons minimum against this Pokemon. My only win con is I should go basically straight for a charge move here and then try to hope that they swap out into I think the Gustlord there with like a few HP, but they know how to play it out. They know that they're going to outspeed me, and so yeah, well played by them. Nothing I could have done there. Absolutely not. Like, they were not in range for Hydro Cannon yet. And here again, Diggersby. What I should do is I should get energy, wait until they go for their own charge move, and then swap out into my Claydol, which is exactly what I'm now gonna do. This is the way to play against Diggersby. Needed like a tiny bit time of me, like for me here, to figure this kind of stuff out. So yeah, you have 2 great ends against Diggersby in the back. It doesn't make sense to stay in for too long on the lead, as the lead is kind of important to have here. We have an ABB style line. You kind of want to keep your lead alive with this type of style. And as you will see here, we're going to be able to not only align ourselves, we're going to have energy on our Claydol for whatever matchup we're going to have later on. Yes, the attack drop is annoying here, but Darkspan comes in and we're going to be able to debuff them. And that is so much more worth it, basically, as I can now go into my Pidgeot. They do less damage against us, we have Air Cutter against them, and we're gonna be in a position now where we're hopefully gonna be able to win. But then I realized something. It is very likely that the Pokemon that they have in the bag is another Charmer. And again, I made a video that was very similar to this one. We had actually the exact same backline, which is the most toxic line. I said already in that video, Diggersby is an alternative option for that one. Yeah, our team is not designed for toxic teams. that is what it is. Like, I cannot deal with double charm with this line. If this is something that you don't want to see, then yeah, like this is something that you're just not going to have the chance of winning against. And trust me if I tell you that this is kind of a common style of a line, because this happened more often. Now I decided to swap out straight away into my Claydol against the opponent's biggest B and see on how this is going to go now, because at the end of the day, I have to kind of change something. If it doesn't really work, it doesn't really work. We're going to see here the Ice Beam coming through. I just have to hope at this point that they don't have double charm in the back. I decided to use a shield against the Scorching Sand. Luckily, I don't get the debuff, and I do think I can go for a Rock Tomb here in order to knock them out here, which is gonna be cool. But like, it is gonna be a tough matchup. They use a shield, which is fine. I might be even able to take the hit now because I debuffed. I decided to use a shield because I wanted to realign. Scorching Sand's coming through again, and we are going to be able to realign. Let's see what they're going to have in the back. They have, oh, a Pidgeot in the back, and I don't want to give them energy. And so I swap out straight into my own Pidgeot, as I know that I should be able to get to my Air Cutter before they can go for a Brave Bird. Is that a smart play? We will find out very shortly. It's not going to be enough to knock them out. We don't get any boost or whatever, it doesn't matter, because they're gonna go for the Brave Bird anyway. And now we have to wait out the clock a little bit because we are switch locked, and I don't really want to stay in for that long with my Swampert. And we have in the back the Toxapex. So that is an interesting matchup. I should go for the Hydro Cannon kind of straight away, because this denies the opponent a fast move, because the opponent is 1 turn delayed because they had to swap out. And with that, I am going to be able to take the Brine, and I can go up to 2 Hydro Cannons. And with it, the game is over. The game is over. We won immediately here, because I am going to be able to go always for 2 Hydro Cannon against the opponent. It doesn't really matter. This is going to knock them out, and then we're going to have the Pidgeot, which we're going to be able to knock out afterwards. And so at least here, where it's not a double charm line, we're going to be able to win the battle. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and maybe the next team going to be already my legend team. Who knows? See you then. Bye-bye.